hail box, if it's there, someone somewhere must have seen it.
All right, so where it begins to get very serious, because a lot of people in the audience will say, okay, from both of you, yes, the government did it, yes, it's very interesting, but it's still up into the land, in the public's, from a lot of the public's point of view of psychic research. Now, when you begin to talk about corroborating evidence, then you're talking about a very, very serious revelation. Tell us, please, what you can about this professor.
Okay. This astronomer, he's an astrophysicist, actually, and he's one of just impeccable credentials. He has taught at more than one of the top 10 universities in the United States in the area of physics, astrophysics, and astronomy. Now, his specialty is in planetary science, which is the formation and the life of planets and planet-like material, of which comets is included in that. So he has the ideal specialty for an expert involved in this kind of discovery.
So he's the right guy.
Exactly, and he's been involved in successful efforts to discover planets around his own solar system. He's a real pioneer in this field. He's a very brave and courageous person to have come forward, at least to us at this point, with this information.
How did that occur? Did you go to him? Did he come to you? Can you tell us how the contact occurred?
What we did, after we did the Hailbox remote viewing session, we started calling around all the astrophysicists and astronomers that we had some personal contact with. And we happened to run across this particular person. And he said, well, yes, there are some observed anomalies with Hailbox, although I'm not exactly sure what these anomalies mean. In the world of astronomy, they discover new things all the time. There's always something new and unusual they're finding out, even about the closest neighbors, Mars, the Sun, Jupiter, Saturn. So there was some anomaly. And then later, at 3 weeks, he called us back and said, I have some photographs that show another object traveling with the comet.
You've got those photographs. Dr. Brown's got them, and I've got them.
That's right. That's right.
Now, the immediate audience reaction, we've got some people who joined us this midnight.
Right.
And we're going to describe this object, but they're going to sit around and say, well, then why the hell not don't you put these photographs on the web so we can all see them? I certainly wish I could. Please tell them why we can't.
Yeah. The nature of the telescope involved in this particular series of photographs that we have, anyone with any type of astronomical training would be able to narrow it down to a few different observatories in the country just because of the type of image.
In other words, it's too good.
It's too good, exactly. And it would then narrow down who this particular person is.
All right, why does this person not yet wish to be known?
Well, he, as he conveyed to us, he is wanting to get as much data as possible, and he wants to have a completely irrefutable analysis before he comes forward to the public. He is concerned that if he comes forward at this point with these photographs and some other evidence that he has, that it won't be enough and that he'll just be deceived and his whole career will be in turmoil. As well as he kind of fears for the safety of his family and himself. So he wants to take some time and make sure he has everything lined up before he comes forward.
And he's talking to his family, I guess, too.
He's talking over the holidays to his family, and our indication is that he may come forward this next week with this information.
Yes,
That's correct.
all right. Let's discuss with the audience. This is radio proof, so we'll just have to do the best we can.
Right.
But these photographs, let us discuss what is in the photographs.
Right. First of all, I'd like to mention what in particular that he has seen and then we'll get to the photograph. Okay. This is just one series of different things that he has seen and others working with him. And over the past year or so, they have seen an object with Hale-Bopp on several occasions, and it has been photographed several different times.
One of them, by the way, is even on the Hale-Bopp website itself, showing an object next to Hale-Bopp of just about exactly equal brilliance.
Right, yeah, the alleged Hale-Bopp eye.
Eyes, that's right.
Right.
So I would mention that's another source.
That's correct. Yeah, and many amateur astronomers have noted all sorts of anomalies with Hale-Bopp as far as the corona, the path, objects near Hale-Bopp. We even done a scientific astronomical study on Hale-Bopp at the Bartlett Institute. So most of those stories are just really anecdotal evidence. But these photographs that we have here, are irrefutable. It's a star. It's clearly something traveling with the comet. And this particular astronomer, they haven't seen the object every time they look. And there are some theories as to why that is. It could be that the object is traveling around Hale-Bopp, and so you see it only sometimes when it's in an area when you're photographing the comet. Another theory is that this is some type of interdimensional object and is able to kind of tap in and out of the picture as well.
Well, whatever it is, it's clearly in this series of high-resolution photographs.
Exactly.
And so if you could describe exactly what's in the main photographs that we found here, and it would be sort of paint the whole picture for the audience.
Right. Yeah, these are high-resolution astronomical photographs. So the stars in these photographs don't look like little pinpoints, they look like blobs. Now, if this was taken from the Hubble telescope, the stars would still look like pinpoints because there would be no interaction because of the atmosphere. But because this is a ground-based telescope, there are several large star blobs around the comet. The comet itself looks similar to the stars, but you can see the corona, so it's clear which of these objects is Hale-Bopp.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. Now, there's one object that is right behind Hale-Bopp, which is not a star. It's not on any star chart. So if someone were to take this photograph and match it up with any of the catalogs or computer programs that generate a picture of the sky at that particular time, you would not find this object. It is very bright. It is as bright as the comet.
Yes.
And it is as large as the comet and appears to be slightly larger in this particular photograph.
Immediately behind Hale-Bopp.
Immediately.
In fact, the images appear to almost mesh.
Exactly. And if you look closely, you'll notice that this object is really light, and the light actually covers some of Hale-Bopp. So it actually kind of outshines Hale-Bopp in these photographs.
If this object is physically behind Hale-Bopp, what have you been able to determine with regard to its size?
This comes from preliminary calculations, and now I have all this data on this particular series of photographs. So this is preliminary calculations that I've done. So this object is clearly larger than the Earth. I do not know how much larger, but it is clearly larger than the Earth. Now, an object this size, one would think, well, if it's truly larger than the Earth, wouldn't the comet be orbiting it? And that brings us to the idea that it's most likely hollow, or the mass is low.
You conclude that because it is not, otherwise the comet would be, because of the forbidden attraction, it would either consume it or orbit it.
So it clearly can't be a comet chunk either, because it changes its position relative to Hale-Bopp, but it doesn't trail Hale-Bopp all the time. and it doesn't work at Hillbox either.
Do we have documentation, aside from Mr. Schremer's photograph, of other positions of this company?
The series of photographs that we have shows the object behind each robot over a time frame of several hours. And during that time, you can see that the comet moves in relation to the star background. And the object moves with the outline, so it's not staying stationary with the stars, but it moves slightly in one direction, so it's not following one direct pathway with the outline. It seems to be oscillating a bit.
There's no way a natural object could do the sort of duration that this has done, is there?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no calculation that you could do that could prove that this object was some natural object that happened to be captured by the comet.
You have had many hours of discussion with this professor, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
How convinced is he that this is not ambiguous?
He is very convinced. He's completely convinced. When we first started talking with him, he thought that there was a possibility that this was some type of artificial object, but he wasn't committing himself at that point. And then apparently he received some confirmation from other people in his field that have seen the same thing. And one particular colleague of his who has detected radio signals from this object.
And this colleague has a radio telescope?
That's correct.
This is not an amateur with a radio telescope, this is a professional?
This is a professional, another PhD in astrophysics who does all sorts of radio. And he discovered on 2 different occasions radio signals being transmitted from this exact object.
From this exact object?
That's correct.
Do you know anything about the nature of the radio signal?
Now, all that I know is that it has some type of complicated power to it. And that would lead one to think that it is some type of intelligent signal. Now, there are some astronomical objects that do give out patterned radio signals. Also, laser kind of thing.
Sure.
But this pattern apparently is very complex. And so it gives rule out some type of natural thing.
No,
They're working on the coding, they don't know what it
That was my next question.
Yeah.
They are constantly working on the coding.
Right. Last I heard several days ago, they really didn't have a clue as to what it meant. It didn't fit into any mathematical formula they thought of how to go ahead.
Nevertheless, my God, with these photographs and with a signal being received, which does not appear to be ambiguous at all, and with discussion going on at the top of the astronomical community quietly, it is amazing to me that this has kept quiet until now. Absolutely amazing.
It is amazing, although if you look at the whole body of it, all sorts of strange objects and UFOs and similar things. There have been a lot of secrets out of the country, and this is just one of those secrets because right now, although it seems to me that the evidence for this is growing and growing, and considering that it's an object that's that large and there's some apparent intelligence control and it's headed our way, this is something that the public needs to know about.
Well, I couldn't agree more. You are not a social scientist, so I guess I would ask you what kind of reaction you think that will be on the public. We'll do that with Whitley Strieber, who will be on later, and who, by the way, has independently, in his own investigation, determined who this professor is But we are bound, are we not, by our word, to allow this man to make his own decision.
That's correct.
All right.
It should be his decision to come forward.
All right, please. Hold on. We'll be right back to you. Prudence Calabrese is my guest with Orlando. Back now to Prudence Calabrese. Prudence, are you there?
I'm here, Art.
Good. She is in Atlanta, and I'm going to give you a little bit of raw reaction that we're getting from the audience.
Okay.
For example, Art, we at the the Artgun IRC channel, are all just about saying this must be definitely a hoax, simply because of the moral necessity of showing the photographs on the net grossly outweighing the need for one man's reputation. If this were me, I would, with no question, post these and show the world proof of the existence of others. If not, this will just become another Roswell. Let's address that. Number one, what are the moral imperatives? This is very serious information, Prudence. And what are the moral imperatives? Is this man's reputation more important than getting this out right away? I've got the photographs, you've got them. Professor Brown has got them. Just about everybody's got them,
Right.
and we're not releasing them. So we really need to address that. Where are the moral imperatives?
Well, it's always a tough call to make, and it's something that journalists, for example, have to do all the time because they have all sorts of sources that are secret that they not disclose because of what could potentially happen to the source. Sometimes a journalist will come up with a piece of information from a source that he or she doesn't want to disclose, and they feel that this information is so important that they need to put it out there right away.
No matter what.
No matter what. And one of the reasons for doing this is the hope that other people with the same type of information will come forward, because then they'll feel that they're not alone. So that's one of our hopes, is that other scientists out there who have observed strange things with Hale-Bopp will come forward after hearing this information.
So at this point, you are, after all, this man came to you in confidence, and so for at least a week, or until he holds his news conference, you're going to hold his name and not release it, nor the name of the university.
That's correct.
He is a tenured professor at this university, correct?
That's correct.
All right, from Keith in Wisconsin. Very interesting show. I understand we're holding the photos, but couldn't somebody figure where this photo was taken by the comments about these photos are so good? They should be able to narrow it down to just a few. That is likely.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been so many rumors going around already within the astronomical community and through the internet community all over the place about who particular person. I've also heard that there are several other people that are holding it as well. So it's probably a matter of time before things are going to break. Now, I'm hoping that this particular of ours that come forward as it does pretty well, or someone who figures out who he is.
Or
Exactly.
I suppose. All right, please. If in a reasonable time, you have the photographs, I've got them, Professor Brown has them, Whitley Strieber has them. If within a reasonable time there is not a news conference, would you release these photos?
We have given this astronomer our word that we would not release the photos at this time. We will be in contact with him after this show, and we'll check his reaction to all this and see what kind of decisions he come to, and then I guess we'll reevaluate depending on what he plans on doing. But I can't answer at this time.
All right. One other thing the audience should know, and I believe that I'm on firm ground here, but this astronomer has agreed, has he not, to come on this program either immediately prior to or after the news conference that he plans to hold next week. Is that correct?
He has given an indication that he would be willing to do that. After he was contacted by us, asking if he or anyone he knows has seen any abnormalities with Hale-Bopp. It caused him to look further at the data that he had collected and things that he had been hearing through the rubber belt. And as a result, he started collecting all this data that shows that there is something clearly there. And he is actually quite grateful that this was frustrated again. So he believes that he would be
All right. If you were to advise him, if you were to give him advice, with the story breaking and prudence, it's not going to last very long.
That's right.
The secret isn't going to last very long. As you know, there's already rumors on the internet with regard to what university it is, and I guess from you and Courtney, it's going to be no comment until you have fulfilled your moral obligation to this man.
Right.
And to be fair, I don't think you can just keep the situation so big that to hell with this man, release it. You made promises they have to be good for something.
Exactly.
He's going to be putting his reputation on the line of this, isn't he?
That's correct. And we don't know what kind of situation would be for him if he comes forward. His evidence is very good, and what he's doing now is trying to line up as much of it as possible so that no one can come forward and say wrong.
The radio telescope signal that's being received. This is not being received by into the sun. And so this is coming from another unidentified, reliable source. I'll be pushing it.
Yeah, we believe it's a reliable source. This is someone who's unknown to us, but there's nothing to be astronomer. And apparently it's a professional, like three professionals, practice communication.
So they obviously have tapes of this. That I would give my right arm to the see.
I do not know. I wish I did myself because that is just fascinating information.
You know where the astronomer is.
Yeah, he doesn't know what this information is.
Alright, so please, is there anything that I'm missing in terms of what I should be asking you?
Well, there are quite a few, the four in particular, different aspects of this object in the photograph. And what's interesting about these four different aspects of the object is that they corroborate what our remote viewing data has been.
Yeah.
So I'd like to kind of run through the list and explain what is seen in the photographs and what the astronomer has passed on to us.
All right. And
compare it to some of the data that we've received through our sessions.
All right.
And the first point is that the object is spheroid, so it's a circular object of some sort, rounded, that it's artificial and that it's huge. And these are clearly shown in the photographs. You can say that it's artificial because it's emitting light, and only stars and such emit light.
Is there a way from the light that it is emitting to determine that it is artificial and not a star? In other words, is there any difference between the light being emitted by this object and that of a star?
Now, I am not sure what exactly the light type is being emitted from this object. I don't have that information, but the fact that this object is moving with the comet would indicate that it's not a star, because they just don't move around like that.
It also is not moving precisely with the comet, is it?
That's correct. It seems to have its own agenda, and it's not a straight path. It's not anything that you can predict.
If this object were to leave the relative vicinity as it approaches Earth of the comet and come close to Earth, orbit Earth or come, graze Earth, what effect would there be?
Well, the fact that it is so huge, that it's larger than the Earth, if it got too close to the Earth, it would certainly pull us out of our orbit, which could be devastating. So I'm feeling that would happen. We don't know how close it's going to come. It would also most likely, depending on the position, block out the light of the sun and create there's a lot of chaos.
Block out the light of the sun.
That's right. If it's larger than the Earth, it's going to block out the light of the sun.
Do you know for what period of time based on its present trajectory?
Well, if you look at its present trajectory, then the closest it's going to come to Earth is around April when Hale-Bopp, which is the closest point relation to the Earth. And at that point, Hale-Bopp is still so far away.
123 million miles.
Exactly. That we would be able to see it visually, but it wouldn't have that kind of effect on Earth. Now, we don't know if this object is going to disappear. Sometimes it's seen, sometimes it isn't seen. We don't know if it's going to change its course all of a sudden and go somewhere else, or if it's going to come closer. And we don't understand the nature of this object. It could be something that breaks apart into multiple pieces as well. There are just so many unknowns that it's just impossible to predict what this thing is pointing to.
All right, you are also a trained remote viewer. Background, you're a trained remote viewer. Are you comfortable that this object has benign intentions?
Absolutely. Every session that is coming out. Now, I myself have not done one of the Hale-Bopp sessions, but every session that has come in has had a benign type of intelligence controlling it, and it seems to be that the purpose behind the beings operating this object, their purpose is to wake up Earth in some way and to get open contact going. There have been a lot of other predictions, that this type of activity happened close to the end of the century. So the thesis could fit what a lot of other people are coming up with as well.
All right. Are there any observed anomalies with Hale-Bopp itself? Disregard the behavior of the object with statistics. Does Hale-Bopp otherwise appear to be the normal, fairly normal comet that it is, or are there anomalies associated with the comet itself?
That's a good question, because that's a question that's difficult to answer. Now, every comet has its own personality, really, and its own little strange quirks and behavior. And Hale-Bopp has certainly had plenty of those. People have observed different chunks coming off the nucleus. People have observed the corona shrinking and then growing. Back in areas before the sun would have been working on it. So there's been some strange anomalies there. There have been some reported anomalies as far as the path of Hale-Bopp, which seems to indicate that they could be under the gravitational influence of some larger object at certain times. But this is all this evidence is still pretty slim with what's been released.
Did Hale-Bopp have a corona before it should? Now, comets, it's not in the sun, where my understanding is. Coronas come from pieces of the comet, literally boiling off as they near the sun. Is that?
That's exactly correct. And the corona was very bright with Hale-Bopp, much before one would expect it to be.
So where was the energy coming from to create that corona?
No one has been able to answer that satisfactorily. most astronomers on the record have been saying, well, every comet's different, but that's a question that just has not been addressed adequately.
Is it possible that Hale-Bopp's companion is emitting some sort of energy that back before the sun affected this comet? In other words, could the companion account for the energy?
Absolutely. This companion is uniformly bright, so it looks like a star in the photograph. It's very similar to a star in that it's emitting light. It's very bright all the way around, and anything that is that bright obviously has some type of major energy source that could heat up the comet. And some of our remote viewing data seems to suggest that there's some type of ionization going on. And some of the data, refers to the object as being bright and glowing, having a glowing lens, and being bright, glowing, and translucent. So.
With respect to the image that Chuck Schrammick took,
yeah.
The astronomical community, Tom Hale, others, all crashed in on Chuck and said, wrong, it's a star, and they gave the number of the stars so we saw a red giant or whatever it was.
Right.
And Chuck went back and re-imaged, and yes, sure enough, at that location he found the star, but nothing that would account for the incredible brightness and size of the object that he originally imaged. Now, in this program, the ones that we have and are not yet releasing,
right,
this incredible object behind Hale-Bopp, is there any possibility that this astronomer at this major university has made a mistake and it is a star?
It is just not possible. This object is too large. If you look at the photographs, there are several large stars in the immediate vicinity.
Yes. And
those are all accounted for if you look at any star catalog, star chart program, computer program. Those bright stars would show up. But where this large object is, there's no star of any magnitude that would even approach showing such a large star.
All right, and so the audience understands it is not a single photograph. This man has taken filming over many hours in this particular series.
This particular series, probably, I don't know how many you've taken total. We have 5 clear stars. But I know that there were much more, probably a couple hundred, yeah. Right.
I'm going to ask you to hold on. When we come back, I want to let the audience ask some questions. Is that possible?
That's great.
All right. I'd like to tell the audience that obviously many of you are going to want a copy of this program. You're going to want to archive this program. I don't blame you a bit. The program began with Courtney Brown of Emory University. It continues now with Cookies Calabrese. And we'll end up in the final 2 hours with Whitney Strieber. Right now, we are describing as far as information contained in the photograph and what information we have about the signal received by a major radio telescope. It is first contact kind of information. If you want a copy of this program, it will run the entire 5 hours, obviously. The number to call is 1-800-917-4278. I think you got it again. It's 1-800-917-4278. Now, when we come back, we will begin to take some questions for Cookies Calabrese from the audience. As we know, when Whitney is here, we understand the gravity of the information you're receiving this morning, and we understand that you're going to want to ask some hard questions, and we're going to give you that opportunity. So there you have it. And again, to get a copy of this program to archive it, you can call 1-800-917-4278 University. And a professor of astronomy at that university that showed an object behind Hale-Bopp that is not metal. In addition, she said they are receiving, where signals have been received, indicating this, from this object, indicating it is indeed controlled by some Intelligence. Work is underway now to decode these signals. Back now to Prudence Calabrese in Atlanta, Georgia. Prudence.
Yeah.
I guess we're about to take some calls. I guess that Professor Brown, though he's tenured at Emory, and yourself, certainly, as well as Whitley Strieber, all of you, to some degree, myself as well, have our necks out on the line. And I'm curious what kind of personal machinations you went through, before you decided to go public.
I collaboration with Dr. Brown and with Whitley at Lane about all this and with my family because it is information that is not typical. And most people, I think, would be afraid about this is why the genre taking its time.
How did your family advise you?
Oh, well, we've been interested in this and all sorts of things for some time. So we thought that this was the right thing to do, considering my friends it is just really I like it very much. Information really the entire absolute viewing in a positive way. Yeah, because that's what gets around the line. And so far, it's been okay. And university, thankfully, has a reputation for allowing all sorts of academic inquiry. So far, although there's been a lot of black issues, but we're sitting by our remote viewing results, and this is actually in the end, in the future, is going to develop a different style.
My audience understands. I know university. And I'm bound by the same, I guess, professional ethic that you are going to reveal. But that's the so much information I have, folks. I know that person, I don't know the professor's name. It is a top 10 university. He is, before we get to those here, one more time, just describe for the audience what you know about this professor.
He has worked as one of the top in working in the field of astronomy, physics, math, and physics. His specialty is planetary science, which is really the ideal field for this type of study because planetary science is all sorts of planetary study matter actually for years and comets. He is one of the pioneers and is going outside of our own solar system.
Any aspects of recently about these grants,
Exactly. One and two.
so he's at that level.
Is at that level. Exactly.
All right, go on with one more time. He is to release this information, I believe, next week in a major news conference.
That is a question that you're at this time, and we are certainly hoping to reverse those sorts of relations with our
Let's go back to the lines and begin to talk to some people. First, I'm on the air with Prudence Calabrese and Art Bell. Hello.
Hi, Art. Calabrese.
Hi.
Jeff from Tahoe, California. Before we get into scientific explanations of what's going on, I just wanted to kind of touch on the moral issue of what's going on here. I totally have respect for you guys. You guys are obviously sticking your neck out on the line. And I guess what the colleges probably need to hear is reassurance on that level. Obviously, if this is a hoax, I'm being entertained, but I don't believe it is. I believe you're both respectable people and going on that. So I just.
With as much information, Colin, as I have right now, I can only say what I said in the warning at the beginning. That is, to the best of my knowledge,
Right,
this is real.
right.
And there are a number of pretty heavyweight people, including Prudence, including Professor Brown, including Whitley Strieber, who got their necks out on the line.
Right. Yeah, I really have no problem with that if it's true, just in the sense of a hoax. I mean, you're going back to the world's time with Orson Welles and that kind of stuff. It's a hoax. I mean, it gets caught up on. And so I understand that you probably went through that dilemma before you came on the show tonight.
You got that right.
Thinking of that.
We all did.
Yeah, you bet. I bet you did. So I have a lot of respect for you on that level. And it's just a matter of reassuring your listeners on that, I believe. And that's just what I really want to touch base with you guys on.
Yeah, one thing that I'd like to bring up is that there have been rumors that other people also have some type of confirmation that there is an object out there, and we're hoping that this is going to give them that courage where it's exactly pass their information on to someone who's willing to come forward with the information. So,
Yeah. Well, if this information's all correct, I think it's a wonderful thing. I really do. I have no fear, and I think people need to be relieved of their fear.
I hope it's a wonderful thing.
Well, we'll find out.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, I guess we will. And the bottom line is that once you understand what's going on here, that this is an artificial object, that we do have radio telescope signals that have received that don't seem ambiguous in terms of whether they are natural or not natural. And I guess you know, it's going to do what it wants to do.
exactly. We really don't have a say in the matter considering the size of this object, and obviously the technology involved is far beyond what our capabilities or even understanding is at this point.
All right, let's keep moving. Long card line, you're on the air with Prudence Calabrese and Art Bell.
Hey, Art.
Hey.
Where are you, sir?
I'm in Las Vegas.
All right.
I'm only some reservations open to this thing because, basically I'm going on the radio waves if we get some proof of that. But if it's hollow, it could be a transport or a pickup. And I get the distinct impression that people of this planet should be looking for incidents of atmosphere bounding. You mentioned that they're happening right now as we speak, pretty much. And that's just, they're talking about is, other than take a word from an astronomer, who won't even come out and say he's discovered.
Well, he is going to do that next week, sir.
Yeah, okay. And I'm with all the, there's something else here I want to know about it. But let's get to radio waves.
The radio waves on printer paper, all right? Please, that's a kind of interesting question. At some point, or at what point, will we be able to get, for example, recordings, the frequency of the radio signal that's coming in, that sort of thing? When do you think that might be available?
I'm hoping that that's available very soon. Now, if this object continues to emit these signals, then other people will certainly be picking this up. And as the object approaches closer, there's a possibility that the amount of signal will increase, in which case there'll be no ambiguity. Anyone with a radio telescope will be able to record this data.
Once they know where to look and once they know what frequency to listen on, there's no question about it.
Exactly.
So
and now that people are aware of what we're reporting tonight, then you know a lot more telescopes, radio telescopes, all sorts of collection data will be focused on the comment.
Well, that would be incredibly helpful, obviously, because we could get that information out and begin other people looking for it.
Exactly.
So as soon as you have that, wherever that is, I will put you on there immediately, and we'll give them the details. All right, good. Eastern Day Rockies, you're on there with Prince Calabrese and Art Bell. Hello? Yes. Western Rockies, you're on the air with Prince Calabrese and Art Bell.
No, I'm curious. Yeah. Generally, what means answer the coverage? Because I want to believe, I believe and I still believe, but what I mean is, like Ann Rather, you're dead.
to step forward and say, here's the story. What has happened? What has been happening?
All right, it's a good question. What was the nature of Christopher's experiences as a kid?
Well, my feeling on that, and really, I have no way of knowing that for sure, but if he decides, for certain to come forward, a person of his credentials and stature would certainly, it would be CNN type of news. It certainly would be, this would be something that everyone would want to know because of his credentials and his background and the evidence that he's amassing at this point. So I would expect that if the press conference happens, if we are really hoping that it does, that it will be big news and visit.
Which was covered more towards the end, or
With regard to the coverage of the comet, there's absolutely no question. In March and April of '97, there's going to be, aside from everything else, all the news you're hearing this morning, the coverage of the comet will be intense in that time period, correct, Bruce?
Absolutely, because the comet will be completely visible to the naked eye. You'll be able to see it, and it should be visible during the day. So they'll be doing all sorts of studies on the comet, and you'll be able to see it yourself. So, and if this object is continuing with the comet, at that point you'll be able to see the object as well.
What kind of reaction do you expect from a lot of the astronomical community now, Bruce?
Right now, I fully expect, at least in some period, before people step forward with their information, I expect a lot of disbelief out in the open, at any rate, and a lot of people saying that this cannot possibly be true, that they themselves haven't seen this, that they themselves haven't heard about this. But there will be some people that really don't say anything at all. And these will be the people that just know what's going on.
All right. I've got photographs. I'm not an astronomer. I'm not good at interpreting what I see. Clearly, the comet, the corona are visible. The object behind Hale-Bopp is clearly visible. Almost mesh or I'm not sure how to put this, but the light from the object is so bright that it seems to be actually almost overcoming the light from Hale-Bopp itself. Is that a good assessment?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's certainly blocking out the light, at least in that back portion of the comet.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Let us continue. On the first time caller line, you're on the air with Art Bell and Prudence Calabrese. Hi.
All right.
Yes.
I'm calling from the Cafe in Mexico.
Yes.
I would like to get some information on what I have remote viewed about the companion that is traveling with Hale-Bopp.
Where did you train for remote viewing?
I'm training myself. I'm not anyone, I'm just no one, but...
All right, having said that, go ahead.
First of all, the first time I remote viewed Hale-Bopp and his companion was the first week of September of this year. And it was an incredible experience. I was meditating, and I had read Courtney Brown's book months ago when it first came out. So I had been asking for remote views. I've done other things, and all of a sudden I was at Hale-Bopp, and what I saw was the flight that they've been talking about. And it's a huge continent. It is a ship, but it's a continent. And it is not one species. It's not one particular set of things. It is many things. And it is nothing to be afraid of. They are coming here to help us, like Prudence said, and like people are saying, we go.
All right.
Pardon me?
I said, all right. Prudence, does that coincide with pretty much what you have determined to be true?
It certainly does. On quite a few levels. There's more.
All right. Well, we'll get to it. Well, go ahead. What more is there now?
Well, okay. When I remote viewed Hale-Bopp and his companion, I came in from the top. So looking at it from the top, the spikes were like flattened out, like you're looking down at it. And I went inside of it. And it is the most incredible, loving thing I have ever experienced in my life. It is love. It is life. And it is multifaceted, multi-leveled. And it is, in a sense, what I was told, it is us meeting us.
All right, us meeting us. Does that make any sense to you?
It actually does go along with some of the remote viewing data seems to suggest. What some of these remote viewers are walking away from this session is with the feeling that this object is very much involved in some type of consciousness awakening, and that its express purpose is to have some kind of interaction with humanity on Earth, with the intention of helping us achieve some kind of higher level. And so those things kind of go along with
All right, in the last program with Professor Brown, he suggested this object is sending us a very definitive signal. Now, he wasn't then talking about a radio signal that we now have information about.
right.
He was talking about something at another level of consciousness, something that a lot of people on this planet are receiving,
That's
or
great.
could receive. And the wonder for many people out there, indeed, that they are receiving some sort of message. Is that a reasonable question to ask?
Oh, absolutely. And after the last show, I received just myself over 4,000 emails. Most of those from people who have been having all kinds of experiences recently in the past 6 months, whether it's been experiences with visitors, like what Whitley Streamer is going to be talking about later today,
Yes.
or experiences, just ideas about this comet that's been discovered.
Again, we have photographs of an object taken at a major university, top 10, by an astronomer who is impeccably qualified to know what he has taken. That show an object that is with Hale-Bopp, if you wish, Hale-Bopp's companion. It is large, larger than Earth, if present calculations are accurate. It is also emitting now a radio signal, taped and presently trying to be decoded by those who received it. A radio astronomy telescope has picked up these signals. Here talking about it is Prudence Calabrese. Prudence, you're back on the air.
Hi, Art.
I just have facts, and it retrenches some of what we've already done, but the question is, could this object be using the comet for its energy or propulsion system, or itself creating some kind of fusion that is feeding the comet, again, accounting for the outgassing before there should have been outgassing?
Oh, sure. Any of those possibilities are possible. We really don't know what is propelling this object along, and we still don't know whether or not it's some type of interdimensional object. In other words, able to zap in and out of our universe, our visible universe. It does emit light, and it does seem to be affecting the comet in various ways. So those are our possibilities.
Where there's that much light, there's probably some heat.
Exactly.
It's fair to conclude. All right, east of the Rockies, you're on the air with Prudence Calabrese. Where are you, please?
I'm calling from Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes, ma'am.
God, I've got so many questions. I've been listening to Art Bell for about 6 months now and never believed in extraterrestrials before I started listening here. And I was wondering if you were talking about this object possibly being able to flat out the sun, and there was a theory of a few shows ago about the Shades of Darkness with Father Malachi Martin, I believe.
Yes.
Also, the comet is supposed to be coming close to Earth in the beginning of April. will we be able to see the comet, number one, with our naked eye, and number two, if this object stays with the comet, will we be able to see this object also?
Oh, these are both very good questions. Yes. All right. So in April, what will our sky look like? Like with the
You'll be able to see Hale-Bopp, and it will be very visible to just about anybody. And
if this object traveling with it were to maintain its present brightness,
you would see it. It would be very bright in the sky, and it would appear almost as another sun. Not quite that bright, but there would be a very large luminous object with the comet. You may not even be able to see the comet.
Would it be brighter than the moon?
Most likely, that is what our preliminary investigation seems to indicate. It would depend. I don't know if this object is able to control the amount of light that it emits.
All right, here are several good questions by fax from Jeff in Burbank, California. One, should he, the astronomer, decide to go public, which we believe he will, what are the chances that this astronomer might be preemptively silenced or discredited? It seems likely that he and his family are already in grave potential danger. If Whitley Strieber can figure out who this guy is, surely our government can as well.
Absolutely. Most likely, the government already knows who this fellow is. It's no secret in some astronomical circles who he is.
Exactly. And the audience needs to know, Prudence, that everybody involved, myself, yourself, Professor Brown, Whitley, we're all honoring our work in this man. Keep our mouths shut through at least next week when we talk to his family. There is a moral imperative, and I think that is the one.
Absolutely, because we don't know what group would be interested in silencing him. We don't know who would try to discredit him or debunk him. So we need to leave it completely up to him whether or not he wants to go through what would be quite a grueling experience.
Of the time that we have been observing this companion, or more accurately, people in major universities have, how long has it been observable? Can you tell us?
It's been observable for about 20 months, I believe. And honestly, not that many people have been following the comet. Comets in general are something that amateur astronomers follow for the most part, and scientists do study them off and on. But there's so many unexplained things out in the heavens that for the most part, comets aren't highly studied in detail until they reach as close to the Earth as possible. There are probably some ongoing studies of Hale-Bopp that are looking in on it at certain periods, but there probably hasn't been a large concentrated effort to study Hale-Bopp.
Nevertheless,
until now, I'm sure.
If our government doesn't know about this, then they should have known. And so you've got to conclude they do know and simply have said nothing yet. Is that reasonable?
That's reasonable, and the data in our remote viewing sessions indicates that NASA is very much aware and has photographs of this object. And that's what we're believing at this point.
All right, now what about, we have this great orbiting telescope named Hubble.
Right.
Why can't Hubble look at it? Why hasn't Hubble looked at it? And has Hubble looked at it? And those pictures have been held back.
I'm not sure whether or not Hubble has taken photographs of this particular companion to Hale-Bopp. I know that Hubble is in high demand, Hubble time, and it's very, you have to schedule it far, far in advance, and you only get a certain segment of time. There's so many things that people want to look at out there with Hubble that I wouldn't be surprised if Hubble hasn't photographed it. But if it has, I'm sure that it has been photographed.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Prudence Calabrese and Art Bell. Hi.
Yes, hi, how are you doing?
All right, where are you, sir?
I'm in Portland, Oregon.
All right.
I have a question with the horrible ramifications. One, should this astronomer come public? And with respect to the when the comet and its companion is the June 8 hole. What do you think that could do to, say, like the stock market?
All right. No, in other words, economics, human activity, that sort of thing. Prudence. Again, you're not a social scientist. You're not here to comment on that. But
Right. Well, just my personal feeling is that that's one of the main reasons that our government hasn't come forward and admitted that they have evidence of extraterrestrial life yet. With all the body of evidence, so many UFO sightings, hard evidence, alleged crashes, there's millions of people who have undergone visitor experiences, and our government still denies the existence of extraterrestrial life. And
they're concerned about social disruption. So
absolutely.
Okay, then the question then is, why are you coming forward? You can only answer for yourself, I know, but why are you coming forward now? Those are the consequences.
I don't think that there needs to be the consequences. I think that the government really doesn't understand the stamina and the courage of its own people. I believe that the beings operating this object are not hostile and that they're coming to bring something to us that we need, and that and sure, whenever there isn't a big event or an announcement, there will be chaos. But I believe that after the initial shock, that people will come to accept, and people have had to accept all sorts of things throughout human history. And I believe that this will really be no different, that there will be an initial shock, but then people will bounce back.
All right, on balance then, as far as you're concerned, it's more important to know than not know.
Absolutely.
All right, first time caller line, you're on the air with Prudence Calabrese and Art Bell.
Yeah, good morning, friends. Good morning, Art. Good morning. I'm calling from Cardiff, Nebraska, and I used to be a program with KGFW.
Yes, sir.
I have two questions. If the gentleman there, or the astronomer that accidentally decided to not come forward, which I can hardly blame the man, will we be able to get a hard copy of the picture of the Hale-Bopp, which I see on your website, Art, through our show, or have somewhere we can order it?
Well, I'll be faced with my own decision. Each one of us that now possesses these photographs, I think, is morally bound not to release them until either this man decides he is going to come forward or makes a decision that he is not. At the moment he would make a decision that he would not come forward, I would be faced personally with that decision as would the others in this group.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, we at the Farsight Institute have given our word that we would not release any of his information while he's in the process of collecting more data and analyzing it. And he thought that would take around a week to do until he thought that would be the point at which he would feel comfortable. And we'll be continuing to talk with him. And he may, if he decides to wait longer, he may decide to release the photograph. We're really not sure at this point.
Okay. And the second question is, I'm calling from Nebraska, we're in the middle of the United States. What part of the sky will we be able to see the comet in April?
All right, that's a good question. Can you answer that?
Honestly, I'm not sure, to tell the truth. I believe it's going to be close to the horizon, but I would have to check.
I've seen some recent paths of the comet, and I believe the comet is going to be cutting across the orbits of most of the planets. Is that correct?
That's right.
But where it's going to be on the horizon, I don't know that either. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Prudence Calabrese and Art Bell. Hi.
Hello, this is Chris.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling only for the first part. Talk about the caller you had before the last break that spoke that she did remote view.
Yes.
And in her findings, I found it very similar to your previous show that you had, except for one interesting detail. She mentioned that she was overcome with overwhelming love. And I distinctly remember Courtney Brown saying that there was a total lack of any emotion. And it's all because it disturbed me. But there was no emotion coming from the object. It was a purely intellectual kind of the deal.
Oh, that's a very good question. Prudence, is that accurate? Is the remote viewing data that you have showing that there is an overwhelming lack of emotion, or what?
Well, the target for these sessions was the object itself, and not the intelligence behind it, because we weren't sure what this object was. We targeted it. And so when you target an object, you're going to be focusing on the object itself. If we had targeted the being, then we would have probably gotten whatever emotions that they're carrying. But the object itself, if it's a mechanical structure of some sort, to have a lack of emotion would make sense.
Okay, well, I just read the report and on the website and also listened, and it said that it was like in a matrix of thought, and it was not just an object, it also had a statement to it, that it lacked emotion. But anyway, another point I was going to make is that two things. First off, that it seems to be kind of uncover some type of truth here, or has knowledge that it wants to reveal.
Right.
And another thing is that it's clear the next life. And as time goes by, the terms are forgotten what they mean. But one term I wanted to let people know about is apocalypse means to uncover or expose the truth. That's the actual meaning. And the Latin root, or what Lucifer means in Latin, is light bearer. And that's pretty much all the points that I wanted to make.
All right, caller, I have one question for you before we introduce this. Had you been in my position, or Bruce's position, or Professor Brown's or Whitley's position, would you choose to air this information as we are now, or would you keep it quiet?
I think that the truth should be aired now, and I just fear that people don't have the spiritual, and I'm not speaking from a particular discipline, but I feel that people are going to be whatever they can get at that's going to cause them to have spiritual stability. They're going to need to find some framework to put their knowledge into.
I do agree. I really do agree. I agree. Thank you. And these are the terms that we've all gone through. And I would just ask the audience to generally consider themselves, if you had what I had in terms of information, or any of the rest of this group, what would you have done? Kept it to yourself? Or would you stick your neck out and air it? And I think most people would say they would air it. It's a close call in some ways. But, you know, let the truth out. Western Rockies are on the air with Art Bell and Prudence Calabresi.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, this is Mark from Eugene, Oregon.
Hello, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
I'm kind of excited to be on here. Art, I kind of know you through AOL. I do Planet Earth magazine.
Yes, sir.
I have a pretty unbelievable confirmation of what you're talking about. I listen to your show every night. I am somebody who remembers dreams very vividly for 30 years of my life. And 10 days before Hale-Bopp was even discovered, I dug out my dream notebook, and I have it right in front of me for July 13th of 1995. And I just wanted to tell you, Art, and your guests, and also from your show that you did the other time, where you mentioned of a Saturn-like object. Saturn-looking object.
That was the image of that's taken by Chuck Schramm, yes.
Absolutely. Well, the astounding thing, when I listened to that first show, I was at my office, and I did a double take because I remember I had this vivid dream 10 days before Hale-Bopp was even discovered, and I found in my journal and wrote it down. And what it was, just briefly, and then you can take it for what it's worth. Suddenly on the Earth, there's an enormous planet or asteroid. This is coming right from my notebook. Had been appeared in the sky, and there was a kind of feeling, what is that? And there was a realization that either some kind of end of the world as we knew it was happening. There were many people coming about on the planet. There were some feelings of panic and foreboding, but there was also a sense of climax, an amazing rendezvous with destiny. And I had that dream, and then about an hour and a half, I woke up from another Technicolor kind of dream. And this is what's so astounding, because what I wrote down was that the sky was filled with strange colors. Suddenly, twilight descended, and the universe was alive.
and there seem to be these moons. This is what I wrote down again 10 days before Hale-Bopp was discovered. And I wrote down specifically, in a Saturn-looking planet, very large, was on the left, moving about our world. And I wrote down night lasted only a few minutes, many people were out and about, and there was a realization that the world had changed. There would be no more nighttime. The universe had moved to new space or neighborhood.
All right, sir. I appreciate that. And Prudence, quickly, because we don't have a lot of time. The kind of thing the man just described as a dream, what others are relating as remote viewing or something they feel, is this, in all probability, a reaction to the signal that's coming from this thing?
It very well could be. Like I mentioned before, I have just been receiving countless messages from people who have had similar dreams, who have had visions, who have just intuitively felt something, even before this comet was ever announced, or before they've ever heard anything about it or about this companion object. It's something that is a big movement that people are really following.
Is there a way people can email or write to you?
Absolutely. You can write to me at my email address is webmaster, WEBMASTER, at Farsight, FARSIGHT.org. And if you visit the Farsight Institute website at www.farsight.org, then there are plenty of links in there to my email address and the webmaster for the site as well.
All right. Now, the next few days, even tomorrow, the next day, the beginning of the week, if the news conference occurs or whether or not it does, if we get information about the radio astronomy signal being received and or information about it being decoded or the frequency or the nature of the signal or more photographs confirming this from other astronomers, I presume you'll be in touch with me right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Any final advice to those listening to all of this tonight?
My only advice is that you should just keep an open mind and wait for all the evidence to come in, and just keep in your thoughts the astronomer and as he is in our thoughts, and we're hoping that he continues to have the courage to come forward with this information, and that others who have heard this or also have information will come forward as well.
Prudence, it has been a distinct pleasure.
Thank you, Art. My pleasure as well.
You're very great. Thank you, Prudence.
Thank you.
Good night. That's Prudence Calabrese.